We start with Arsenal. They remain in the market for a forward player. We told you yesterday that there's interest in Bayer Leverkusen winger Moussa Diaby. Let's talk about that. Harriet, I'm coming to you first. What would Diaby add to this current Arsenal squad?
I think squad depth predominantly. If you look at the squad they've got, obviously they've got Saka and Martinelli in those wide forward positions. Two really talented players, but if either of those got injured, there'd be a big drop-off. And obviously we know they went for Mudryk and they didn't end up getting with him. He went to another London club. So Diaby is the next target on the list. In terms of what he would bring, incredible pace. He can play off both feet. He can actually play on both wings as well. I think he is better on the right, so better as a backup to Saka, but can play on that left as well. And if we look at some of his stats here as well, in terms of big chances created and take-ons attempted, he's second in the Bundesliga since the start of last season. So that gives you an indication of the kind of talent that Arsenal would really be getting. I wonder, though, whether he'd want to come in as a backup option would be my only question. He plays so much for Bayer Leverkusen. They are struggling at the moment, but he plays a key role in that side. And the fee they were talking about was about plus upwards of 80 million in the summer, so they'd have to pay a lot to get this player in. But in terms of a talent, I think he'd fit in really well, be a really good backup option and give Saka a bit of a rest as well.
Well, we're asking you at home on the hashtag transfer talk, do Arsenal need to sign a winger this month? There's also a poll that's up on the Sky Sports News Twitter, so head there, you can have your vote as well. I've just voted, all right, just so that I can get... I'm not giving that away, but just so I can get the actual scores of that, all right, and to see what the update actually is. 58% of people, nearly 10,000 people have voted as well already, are saying, yes, Arsenal do need to sign a winger this window, so make sure you get involved. Head to the Sky Sports News Twitter, or you can use the hashtag transfer talk as well. Let us know your thoughts on that one. Right, Zach, let's talk about this, because when it comes to Arsenal, when it comes to what they're hoping to do this season, we all know top of the table. Is this a matter, though, of having to get this deal done to ensure that they remain top?
Look, I think Arsenal have shown already with how deals have been happening this summer that they're not going to be pushed into a deal if they don't want to be. Just look at the Mudryk case of how that went down with him ending up at Chelsea. Yeah, look, Arsenal do need some sort of backup winger. I think the fantastic thing with Diaby, as Harriet mentioned, is he can kind of play in several different positions. He can play on that left, he can play on that right. He can even play in the middle in a 10 position and give Odegaard a rest if needed, which is super helpful. I do feel for Saka because obviously he is, when you look at the Arsenal side, the first name on that team sheet week in, week out. And thankfully, luckily, he's not had any kind of bad injuries. He's not had any knocks. And getting someone in like Diaby kind of fits that same profile that Arsenal have been going for. Young guys who can have huge potentials. Mikel Arteta has shown that he can develop them as well. Look, I don't think what Arsenal want to be in is in a position at the end of the season, they've just missed out on the title because of an injury to Saka or because of an injury to Martinelli. And think about what could have happened if we did sign someone. So yeah, I think this is a guy that they need to get done. And in general, just the position in general, a winger is definitely a need.
They had that last season as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Missing out on the top four because Saka was just overplayed, and a lot of that forward line just had to keep going again and again and again, and then they missed out on a top four spot. It's a different dynamic this season, going against the title against all odds in reality. So they really want to strengthen from a position of strength, make sure that they've got no regrets come the end of the season.
Flex, when it comes to adding other players in and maybe competition within the squad as well, surely it's a good thing. Surely the likes of Bukayo Saka, this is competition for him, but also some rest, because it's not just the Premier League that they'll be wanting to advance in and to stay at the top of. There's other competitions for Arsenal that they will have their eyes set on, and they'll want to bring more trophies back to the Emirates.
Absolutely. It can only be a good thing getting competition for players, and also you don't want that outstanding pressure just on a specific player, somebody like Bukayo Saka. I mean, look what happened to Gabriel Jesus, and I think Eddie Nketiah has been a really good example of actually, I can hold that mantelpiece until he gets back. Actually, they've done really well, considering, you know, a lot of people thought that Arsenal season would be instantly derailed with Gabriel Jesus missing, which obviously is a big miss, but it goes to show that Mikel Arteta has a squad of players at the moment that are up to his demands. However, they haven't had any big injuries yet, which is obviously a positive thing for Arsenal. But if you're an Arsenal fan, you don't want to look back at this window come May and say, what if we would have strengthened? Yeah. And if you're looking at whether Arsenal fans will be happy or not right now, OK, missing out on Mudryk is one situation. but they need to go and strengthen. They need more numbers through the door because, like Kyle said, they are fighting on a lot of fronts. Only the League Cup they're out of. The rest, everything else they're in. Europa League starts back again. You know, fighting in the FA Cup still, and obviously the league is what they really, really want to get. So they need players, and I like what you said there, Zach, about they're not just going to be pressured into you know, going out of the constraints of what they want. Mikel Arteta has worked so hard to get this Arsenal team to exactly where he wants it. I don't think he's going to throw away loads of forward-thinking planning now at this stage of the season.
Well, some tweets here just using the hashtag transfer talk. People are getting involved in it. David said, personally, if Arsenal buy well in January, they'll win the league. If they don't and get a few injuries, Manchester City will pip them. Tom said, they're top of the league. They clearly don't need to bring in a winger. However, some Arsenal fans have got in touch as well. I think we need 1 or 2, so we'll need a backup of the 2 wingers they have already. This season is still long. Make sure you use the hashtag transfer talk. Do Arsenal need a winger in January?